Hello, everyone. Welcome to Book Club Preview. I'm Michael, and today we're looking at The Story of More, Chapter 17, Rising Waters. And oh man, things start to get spooky, but the way she ends this chapter, oh man, I feel like chapter 18 is going to be even spookier. But she starts off talking about her dog, Coco. This golden retriever that loves to go swimming, and how she would send it off. Well, no, she wouldn't send it off. It would run off into the oceans of Hawaii, trying to chase down maybe this buoy out there off the coast. She loved her dog. Her dog passed away, but she talks about this one buoy that she thinks her dog was after, Wave Rider. And Wave Rider is a high-tech, sophisticated scientific instrument that measures all sorts of things. How much salt is in the water, how high the water's going, how fast the water's moving. I mean, all sorts of different things that scientists use to measure the weather and climate change and just measure the water in general. But there are several of these buoys, or probably hundreds of them in the ocean in general, but around Hawaii, and they all link together and create a network of information. Now, with this information, we've had some pretty uncomfortable news, let's say. First of all, the water is rising. Okay, that's not too much news, I think, to most of us. I think she says it's risen about 7 inches around the world. Some places higher than others, but about 7 inches. Another thing is that not only is it rising, but the water itself is getting hotter. It's getting warmer. And I can't remember, it's not quite as much as the air, I think, but it was about like a degree Celsius. And that has a lot of different effects on the world. First of all, that rising water, it takes away land that we can potentially have. One city, Bangladesh here, is all around like a coastline, I think, and the rising water has pushed many people's back from the coast. I think she says thousands. And if it continues to rise, it could actually hurt millions of people, because Bangladesh, I think, has half the population of America in like a much tinier concentration. Another effect here, there's plenty of them, but Greenland, which is a country that has a lot of ice on it, that ice is starting to melt and to disappear and go into the ocean. And certainly the Arctic, which has 90% of the world's ice on it, those huge chunks of ice are starting, okay, we don't really have clear understanding of how bad it's being yet, starting to melt. The north is melting much faster, but the south is not quite melting quite as fast. But those things are changing the temperature of the water, the way the water is moving, and it's even adding more acid into the water, because the CO2 is being absorbed into the water more than it's being absorbed into the air. I'm not sure if that's necessarily more, but at least it's also going into the water. And she talks about dentists. They tell you don't drink carbonated soda, because the CO2 in the soda and the water, the way it mixes, actually provides an acid which can hurt your teeth. This is happening into the ocean, where coral reefs are becoming dissolved, and it's becoming much harder for those creatures around those reefs and the reefs themselves to survive. Now, in this debate of climate change, there are people on both sides. There's people that say, there's no such thing as global warming, it's a lie. And there's people on the other side saying, we're all gonna die. The author says, okay, both these people are stupid. But let's talk about what's really going on, because what's more important than the debate is to take the time to realize what's going on, to test it, to have patience, and to be able to finally get a remedy. And she says, like, two parents arguing about like doing the dishes. The parents need to stop, figure out what's really going on in their marriage, and move forward to truth. And that's the same that we have to do. And the author says, Hope, I think her name is Hope, that we need help. Like, we all need to pull together as a community, as a world, as a team, to really take this seriously, because things are bad, and we know they're getting bad because things are already dying. And that's how she ends the chapter with stuff's dying already because of climate change. And we're gonna have to wait for the next chapter to see what exactly is dying. But oh man, things are getting serious, they're getting deep, they're getting real, and they're affecting us today. Let's look at some vocabulary. The first one is persist into old age. Persist means to continue, to not give up. And so all the dogs that she's had haven't died from illness or sickness or getting hit by a car or running off and swimming and dying in the ocean, but have pushed on into old age and died from old age. Succumbs means to surrender. I can't remember what she was using that in, but just kind of give up or surrender. Breakneck bravado. Break your neck, okay, is pretty simple, and bravado is like courage or acting confidence or doing something crazy to kind of show your skill or your talent or something like that. So breakneck bravado, combining those, is kind of stupid actions that are too dangerous but still like prove your courage. We can think of like a bullfighter, okay? Now, that's a sport and it's a little bit different, but that kind of, I'm going to go into this dangerous area with this crazy animal and dance around it. What? That's kind of breakneck bravado. I'm going to drive my car really fast through these curves because I'm so cool and my car is so awesome and it's going to be really dangerous, but I think we're going to live. Breakneck bravado. Buoy, which I mentioned before, is a floating object in the ocean or a pool or in water generally, that kind of creates a line or a fence. Because the water is moving, you can't just put a fence around something, but you can put these buoys that float around to keep kind of some measurements and things like that. Augmented means change. I can't remember exactly what she meant here, but one word is, we think like augment your body, maybe getting a piercing. That's a change to your body. Or augmenting your sight, changing your sight with glasses, or maybe laser surgery, changing. Homogeneous means the same. So I think she's talking about like the same species or the same environment or something. Ramifications are the consequences, the results of things going on. And so the ramifications of the rising water and the changing temperature are, and we explained those already. Inundated means kind of overwhelmed. I'm trying to remember what she meant it in. I can't remember. I apologize. But yeah, just overwhelmed. Imagine like flooded so much that you can't react. You can't do anything. Imagine maybe your parents, okay? If you did something wrong and they are telling you something and lecturing you, after maybe 10 minutes or 30 minutes, you become so overwhelmed, so flooded with the information or guilt or anger or sadness that you can't even, you're like, I can't hear anymore. Maybe you're just crying, tears are coming out of your eyes. You become inundated, so overwhelmed you can't take action. Eke out, eke out is like surviving, but just surviving on the minimum, getting the least amount of things you need to survive. Eke out a life. There's a few more here. Poised is like positioned. Decimated means to destroy completely. Hyperbole, I love this word, but it's always hard to read it in writing. But hyperbole means to exaggerate something to make a point. Like, I'm so hungry, I'm gonna die. If you live in a first world country, you're probably not so hungry you're gonna die. But we use that expression we use the exaggeration to show the seriousness or to make a point. And that leaves us to our discussion question. I'm just so shocked and hit so hard at the last part of this chapter about things are already dying. So I'd like to ask you, maybe you already know, maybe you're really doing a lot of research, but what kind of life do you think is already dying in the ocean, on land, in the air, wherever? What kind of life are we going to learn about in the next chapter that have already started dying due to all this climate change? And of course, please make your own discussion question. That is all the time that we have for today, but thank you so much for joining me for this episode of Book Club Preview. I'll see you soon. Bye-bye. Hey, if you have any questions about the video today, please feel free to leave a comment in the comment section. If you had any other vocabulary words that you wanted to know what they meant, let me know. And also, if you're interested in maybe joining one of these book clubs, please leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye.